Hi, I'm Dr. Patrick Kingsep, and what I want to do today is to talk about resolving a conflict mindfully. We all know what it's like to be caught up in an argument and a disagreement, and also a conflict, right? Arguments and disagreements can happen with our loved ones, with friends, with work colleagues, bosses, shop assistants, and with people we don't even know. Arguments can occur in person, on the phone, and the increasing surge on social media platforms. The increased occurrence of people using social media channels to vent their point of view is on the rise. People are also choosing to follow media channels that support their position and viewpoint on specific topics, which further envelops them in a back and forth interaction, fueling their rage, their anger, and look, even sometimes their hate. Sometimes we miss the mark on standing up for ourselves and speak out harshly towards others. One of the critical ideas of mindfulness is to be present at the moment. During an argument or confrontation, there tends to be high stress levels experienced by both parties due to the fear of things getting out of control, getting out of hand. This fear of uncertainty significantly contributes to anxiety and stress. The stress worsens the argument, and this then raises stress levels. In a very brief moment in time, the problem worsens and quickly gets out of control. We can disagree with other points of view, but we do not have to do this in a heated way or downplay the other person's perspectives. Mindfulness allows us to interact with another person or person in a way in which we are present, consider what we are about to say, or communicate in a way that does not escalate the conflict. Now, mindfulness helps us to pay attention with full awareness of what is being said at that moment with a non-judgemental stance. It helps us to be aware of our thoughts, our feelings, and our physical sensations, and allows us to pause before we choose how to respond. We can be an observer of our hurts and fears and respond to them with self-compassion, as well as being compassionate towards others. How many times have you found yourself in conflict and lashing out at the other person and acting in ways which you later, you just simply regret? Mindfulness can help us respond in a conflict situation rather than react. By responding rather than reacting, we can make a choice in how we're choosing to respond verbally and our actions. So this may sound easier said than done at this stage. But let's talk about some tips that can help us to change this reactivity to responding more mindfully. Now, firstly, it's essential to acknowledge that you will likely experience intense emotions in conflict and ways in which to let these emotions out in a way that does not fuel the conflict situation. Mindfulness can be used to create a pause, so to speak, between feeling the emotion and what you do with it. For example, you may feel a surge of anger when someone accuses you of something. Nevertheless, rather than feeling the surge of anger and lashing out in aggressive words, you may choose to feel the anger and wait a few moments while you acknowledge the feeling and the best way of responding to the accusation. You may choose to walk away from the situation, to give yourself some space, or focus on taking 2 deep inhales and exhales before speaking. However, as I said earlier, the first step in using mindfulness practice in a conflict situation is to pause or create some space. If you're on the phone, you may ask to call the person back later in the day, or in person, you may slowly take 2 deep breaths. Become aware of what you're arguing for or against. What outcome are you hoping to gain from this situation and interaction? Furthermore, can you release the intensity of your need to have your preferred outcome? The acknowledgement and acceptance of what emotions you are feeling are essential. Do a self-check on your body. What you're feeling. Is it anger, fear, pain, embarrassment? Whatever the emotion is, acknowledge it and make room for it. Remember that feeling heightened emotion is normal in a conflict situation. You may feel your shoulders tighten, and hot sensations may be hitting you as anger arises. Or you may feel this sick feeling in the pit of your stomach as you're aware you feel embarrassed or hurt. Whatever the emotions are, let them be, and they will reduce in their intensity and time if you do not react to them straight away. Try to increase your awareness and focus on your breath. As you inhale, it's normal to pause before you exhale. As the pause after the inhale, spend a moment trying to relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and release some physical tension felt. Acceptance of your emotion in the conflict situation is vital, as this is the reality. Become aware of your choices and your ability to choose how you respond each time you speak. Try to listen to the other person. Do not just shut off to what they are saying, no matter what it is. Clarify what they are saying to you if you need to, and try not to jump to immediate assumptions or judgments about them. Acknowledge the other person's viewpoint, even if you don't agree with it. Try to agree on the matter or issue you are trying to resolve. Many arguments can be avoided altogether when we realize we were never talking about the same issue to begin with, or it's not something worth arguing about. Try to refrain from insulting the other person in your interactions. Try to focus on the facts of the situation and how you feel. When you're expressing the opposite viewpoint, try to do so without aggression. Try to be respectful of one another. It's essential to be able to speak your truth without fear of holding back or expressing a viewpoint you know is different to the person you're interacting with. It's essential at some stage of the conflict to offer some potential resolution rather than getting stuck in it going over and over again over the problem. Try to offer one or more different ways it could be resolved, or ask the other person how they think it could be resolved. You might try to arrive at one possible resolution that you will both try to put into place. Lastly, remember that if you leave the interaction holding on to resentment and anger, it will be more difficult for you to resolve it and move forward. Sometimes we need to remember that we can grow through conflict and learn new things about ourselves and others. Approaching a conflict mindfully may not lead to the outcome you want, but it will help you to increase your confidence, compassion, and acceptance of challenging situations with others. Hopefully, you will leave the situation with less residual anger and resentment. The important thing is that this only works best if both parties are willing to listen mindfully. So next time you're in an argument, think back to your mindfulness training and honestly try to understand the other party. You will be surprised at how fast you can reach an agreement. Now, thanks very much for listening to this video. And if you could, please subscribe, turn on the notifications, leave some comments, maybe make some suggestions. I'd love to hear your comments. Thanks very much. Mindfully yours. Bye for now.